Hey everybody, Kevin here again from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel, and today we are going to be doing a band review on the band 10 Years. Okay, so if you have watched any of our previous band reviews, we have a system in place on how we do these. First, I'm going to go over how I first found out about the band and my little backstory with them. Second, I'm going to be going over what I like about the band, what really gets me going about them, and what I like the least, what really grinds my gears about them. Third, I will give you my favorite song about the band, and lastly, I will tell you my rating on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best, and why we give them that rating. Alrighty, enough with the formalities, and away we go! So I first found out about 10 Years when I was going to see a show at the end of December in 2017. This was the end of my huge concert tour for 3 months, and Chevelle was playing. 10 Years was opening for him. So when I got there, I was absolutely pumped because I got to see Chevelle. This was going to be great. I had to knock them off the list. But 10 Years was opening. My friends I was with, they wanted to see 10 Years as well. So of course I'm like, yeah, let's go see 10 Years too. Let's watch them open, see what happens. I remember watching the show, and it was an okay show. I remember listening to some of the songs, and I recognized a number of them, but not that many of them. There were some that's like, oh, I heard this part of this one song, or heard this one chorus somewhere, but I just didn't really remember what they did. For their little encore, they came on and played one song at the end. I don't even think it was an encore, though. I think they just played this one at the end. It was off their new album, How to Live as Ghosts, and they played Novocaine. And when I heard that song, I thought, whoa, that might actually stick with me rather well. When I got home, I ended up downloading a couple of songs because I still listen to them off my iPod. Yes, I know I'm old. However, I was listening to songs such as Novocaine, and then the other ones that were pretty popular with the band, such as Fix Me, Wasteland, Beautiful. And after a while, I was listening to Novocaine, but then I kind of just forgot about the band, just kind of let them drift to the wayside. I was listening to other bands at the time. Towards October of 2018, they were playing another show close by me, and they were the headliners. Their opener was Tremonti, so I'm like, okay, I want to go see 10 Years. Let's go see Tremonti as well. Tremonti played a pretty good show, and I was pretty impressed by it. Then I saw 10 Years, and it was the same thing that I heard, and I wanted to listen to them a little bit more after that, along with listening to the band a lot more for this video, because I got inspired to do a band review on 10 Years, so that's where we get to right now and today. Now, my favorite part of the band, if I had to pinpoint my favorite part when it comes to 10 Years, I have two areas I look at. The first area I look at is their very unique sound, because it's something I don't really hear from any other band. If I had to classify it as a type of sound, I would say it's somber rock. It's very similar to kind of like what emo rock would be, except it's a little bit slower, a little bit cleaner, and it just works for them much better. It's something that they really looked at and said, this is our sound, we are using this. When I listened to their whole discography, one thing that was prevalent was they kept that sound consistent throughout the whole entire discography, everything they put out. There have been a couple experimentations here and there, but they pretty much stick to that root and stick to that blueprint that they created for themselves. When I listened to the songs, I could feel the rock elements in those somber songs. I could still hear the rock guitar, the heavier drums in the chorus, and the slower pace. So I was like, okay, this is definitely some rock music. It's just softer and more somber. Where it really comes into play is that specific sound they create with the instrumentation, and two, Jesse Hassick's voice. His voice really exemplifies that somber sound. It's not that gritty, it's a little softer, but when you put it together, they have a formula that works for them. When I was talking to some of their fans at the show, the second show I went to when they were the headliners and Tremonti opened for them, the fans were pretty consistent with, we like the band because a little bit more of a somber tone. You know, they really make you feel a certain way. They really invoke emotion from you, and Hassick's voice does that specifically. And when you bring in that instrumentation, it meshes well. It really works well here. And this is one reason why I really like this band. I think if you're looking for certain songs where this somber rock and thinking of Reflection and Jesse Hassick's voice really come into play are on songs, like I said earlier, Fix Me, Wasteland, Beautiful. If you listen to their whole first album, their whole second album, you're really going to hear that sound. And if that's what you really like, I suggest you go check them out. The other thing that I really like about this band is that when they experiment with that harder rock sound, it works and it works well for them. I'm going to take a look at 3 instances. We're going to take a look at Novocaine when they did this, Shoot It Out, and Burnout. When I first heard Novocaine at that show in 2017, I gotta say, I was blown away by it. I thought, this is good hard rock. They didn't necessarily lose that whole somber sound, but it was something that was different from what I heard, and I was feeling amped up, so I was instantly hooked. During that second show, I heard Shoot It Out for the first time. I thought that when they experiment with this, they do really well. I was really pleased with it. The instrumentation was pretty quick on that song, and they kept that somber sound with Jesse Hassick's voice, but he can pull off a hard rock sound. Again, going back to that second show, at the end of it, one of my buddies who I went with turned to me and said, "Man, I can't believe they didn't play Burnout and really for their encore." I thought, I guess you're right. So I went back and listened to Burnout again because I hadn't heard it in a long time. And I thought, yeah, why didn't they put this in here? This song is a great addition to it. When they really go for that harder rock sound but keep that somber bass, it works out well. If you listen to those 3 songs, you'll be able to pick it out and hear what I'm talking about. Novocaine is under 3 minutes, but it is a great under 3 minutes. That's why I like this band, and that's kind of the 2 reasons why we're looking at them today. The biggest thing that I have against 10 Years is that one of the things I like about them the most. They do have that unique sound. However, they keep that exact same sound all the time, and they really rarely experiment, and it kills me. I kind of call this Breaking Benjamin syndrome because when I look at Breaking Benjamin, they have a style that fits them and they follow that blueprint through and through. Granted, I like Breaking Benjamin, but I hear in their music, I see it from my friends, I hear it from people on Twitter, I hear it from people on Instagram, I hear it from the online community, and I hear it from the rock community as a whole, and I think the same thing applies to 10 Years. If you listen to songs like Fix Me, Beautiful, and Wasteland, you're going to hear similar songs throughout their whole entire discography, and there's very little variance. And when they do vary a little bit, like I talked about earlier, it works. They keep that somber sound, and Jesse Hassick's voice really exemplifies it. I'm not going to knock how they experimented with that and kept it so they had a great formula. But when you just stick to that consistent formula, your music sounds dry and stale, and it just doesn't necessarily work out. Now, will I have to give Breaking Benjamin the same assessment I give them a review? Of course I'm going to. However, we're talking about 10 years now, and I think the same rule applies here, where they just kind of have this same sound, blanket sound, they follow a blueprint. One other thing I have against the band is their live show performances. I have seen them perform twice. The first time they performed, they got up there, played, no encore whatsoever, but then again, I have to give them a little bit of leeway there because they were the opener. One thing they really didn't do in that, though, was crowd participation. They really never got into it with the crowd. They kind of just played, got out of there. Seemed a little bit like they just wanted to get out of there, which, that kind of rubs you the wrong way. But sometimes when you're the opener, I get it. I was there to see Chevelle. A lot of people were there to see Chevelle. That's what we wanted. So in the grand scheme of things, I got to give them a pass there. However, the second time around, totally different story because you are now the headliner. You are now the main band that's up there. Tremonti did a great job talking to the crowd. They did a great job bringing you in. When I listened to 10 Years and saw them for that second show, it was the same thing. They just stood up there and played, which sometimes that's fine, but when you don't address the crowd until you're almost done with your main set, it just feels stale. Again, when they played Novocaine, though, they had a lot of energy and they really started getting the fans into it, which was fun. But that was the last song before they went off. Then the rest of the band stayed off, actually, in that second show. Jesse Hassick was the only one that came on. If I'm correct, I can't remember what song he played by himself. You're saying if it was their cover of Heart-Shaped Box or if it was just Wasteland again. But it really wasn't something that really made me feel like I was at a good show. It kind of felt bland to me, and I just didn't really like it. And that's one knock against the band, because if you're going to do a live performance, bring the audience into it. Now, will I give the band another chance? Absolutely. It's 3 strikes, you're out. But if they do it again, man, you're going to have a real hard time getting me to go to another 10 Years show. So not my favorite 10 Years song, and when I listen to 10 Years, you guys know exactly what song I'm going to pick. I am a big hard rock fan. You guys know I'm going with Novocaine. I could go with Burnout. I could go with Shoot It Out, but they just didn't bring me in like Novocaine did. I love the hard instrumentation, the hard rock instrumentation of that song when you get the hard guitar riff to come into the beginning, and the chorus is fantastic. One other thing I really like about this song is Jesse Hassick. You get his voice in there, and it's kind of somber in the verses a little bit, but when he hits the chorus, there is a hard rock sound there, and I thought, whoa, this is awesome. It's kind of harder to hear it on Burnout and a little bit hard to hear it on Shoot Out, but when they use it in Novocaine, whoa. Now, I know some people out there are going to give me crap because, oh, you didn't pick, the fan favorites such as Fix Me or Wasteland or Beautiful. But again, like I said, I'm a hard rock kind of guy. That was the song that brought me in, and that's still the song I listen to the most off of the band. So easily it's going to be my favorite song, and I wish they would experiment a little bit more on that kind of style than they have. We'll just wait to see what the next album has in store for us. Hopefully maybe 2019, but probably 2020. Alrighty, now time to give my rating on 10 Years, and I'm going to give 10 Years a 6 out of 10. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy listening to 10 Years. Just because I gave them a little bit of a lower review than I have any other band doesn't mean that I can knock the band on that premise. I do enjoy listening to that hard rock sound when they bring out Novocaine, Shoot It Out, and Burnout. I know I've said that a couple of times already, but I really like those songs. I can't help it. I also do enjoy listening to that somber sound when needed. I do enjoy how Jesse Hassick's voice really plays in with the instrumentation and really gets into that sound of somber rock. However, I just can't stand the fact that they have that Breaking Benjamin syndrome where they look at a blueprint and say, alrighty, this is what worked on these songs, and we're just going to follow it all the way through, and we're not going to change anything. When they experiment, it works well. When they don't experiment, it gets really, really, really stale, really, really, really fast, in my opinion. If you are a somber rock fan of 10 Years, then go for it. I don't mind, but it's just not something that I really care about, and their live shows really put a damper on it because they just don't, it doesn't seem like they really care about the crowd from what I've gotten. Again, I will go see them at least one more time just to make sure of that, but in the end, a lot of their songs seem to run together because of that. They keep that blueprint, and I wish they would experiment more. I just wish they would. Now, again, this is no way condemning 10 Years for the move that they made. They know their sound, they know what they like, and they double down on it. Sometimes that's a great move, and it seems like it's actually paid off for them pretty well because they are gaining a lot of traction as a band. But it's just not something that I'm a big fan of, and this is kind of my opinion, so whatever happens, happens. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like when they experiment a little bit, but I don't like when they experiment way too far. I don't want to see them go way too far out there and experiment and change their sound completely. I want to see them keep that somber bass, but then just branch out a little bit here, branch out a little bit there, like they did with Novocaine, like they did on How to Live As Ghost a good amount. Actually, not a good amount, some amount, but like they did there. I really want to hear more of it, and I hope I get to hear that on the next album, but then again, we'll see what happens. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today band review on the band 10 Years. If you like the video, if you dislike the video, if you think I did a good job, a bad job, if you want to tell me, use the like, dislike, comment section, and I'll read your comment if you actually comment on something. Seriously, I will. If you want to keep up to date with us, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon because we release videos every Wednesday and you'll be notified when we put one out there. Also, if you're not following us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, what are you doing? I put out great content on those platforms every single day. I want you to go check them out, follow us, and just enjoy. Lastly, though, if you have an Amazon Alexa or Amazon Echo, Echo Dot, whatever you want to call it, please add the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today Alexa skill to your skill set by enabling by saying, "Hey Alexa, enable My Song of the Day Rock 2000 Today Alexa skill," or by adding it on your smartphone. I've got a link in the description below. Go on your phone, tap on it, it'll take you into the app, and you can add the skill. Then say, "Excuse me, hey Alexa, play my song of the day, and you will get a new rock song every single day. You can play as many times as you want during that day, and the next day I'll give you a new one. Also, it's free. Go check it out. Go at it. All right, then that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. This is Kevin from My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to Today. As always, I'm going to say, see ya!